All right, let's get right into it. We're about to break down a communication tool that is so simple, yet so incredibly powerful, it can completely change the way you interact with people, especially now, in our digital world. This is a technique that literally stops conflict before it even starts.
Oh man, we've all been there, right? You see this text pop up on your phone? Just three little words. And what happens? Immediately, you feel that drop in your stomach. Your heart starts pounding. Your mind just goes into overdrive. What did I do? Who's mad at me? It is an almost universal trigger for anxiety.
And I want you to really think about that for a second. When you get a vague message like that one, what's your gut reaction? What's the instant story your brain starts spinning? Because for pretty much all of us, that story is a negative one. And that, right there, that is the exact problem we're going to solve today.
So to fix this, we've got to understand why it happens in the first place. Let's dig into why our brains are seemingly hardwired to jump to the worst possible conclusion when all we've got are a few words on a screen.
This slide really gets to the heart of it. The text itself, "got a minute?" is totally neutral. It's just a question. But without tone of voice, without seeing someone's face, we're left to fill in all the blanks. And how do we do that? Well, we project our own stuff onto it, our stress, our anxiety, whatever we're feeling that day. That neutral text basically becomes a mirror for our own emotions. And there's actually a name for this whole spiral. We call it the default cycle. A trigger hits, like that vague text, and our brain, without us even realizing it, goes into threat detection mode. We get defensive. We start trying to figure out who's at fault, or we start building our case, instead of just pausing and asking, hey, what's really going on here?
So here's the absolute key takeaway. Your feelings are real, they are valid, but they are not always telling you the truth. Just because you feel like someone's mad at you, that doesn't make it a fact. That feeling is just a signal. It's an invitation to get curious and actually verify what the other person means before you accept your own emotion as the whole story.
Okay, so if reacting negatively is our default setting, how in the world do we override it? Let's get to the solution. Let's talk about how we can build an incredibly simple, powerful habit to break this cycle for good. The tool is called the Kinetic Pause, and that word kinetic is really important. This isn't about passively waiting around. It's an active, deliberate choice. It's that little bit of space you intentionally create between the trigger and your reply. And right there, in that little gap, that's where you find the freedom to choose a thoughtful response over a knee-jerk reaction. And this is the best part. It is so easy to do. It's just 3 steps. First, just breathe. That's it. Feel that anxiety or anger pop up and just notice it. Say hello to it. That simple act can short-circuit the whole panic response. Second, question that story you immediately told yourself. Ask, is it possible I'm just stressed and I'm reading that into this? What are 2 other totally neutral reasons they could have sent this? And third, and this is the game changer, verify. Get a quick vibe check. Pick up the phone, walk across the office, and just say, hey, I got your message. Just wanted to do a quick check-in. Is everything okay? That one little action dissolves so much unnecessary conflict. Now, this sounds great for dealing with a short email, but to really show you how powerful this is, let's look at a real-world, super high-stakes situation where taking this pause made all the difference between clarity and total chaos. And listen, game-changing is not an exaggeration. In a real crisis, when information is all over the place and emotions are running high, your ability to pause and separate what you actually know from what you're just assuming, well, it's not just helpful, it can literally prevent more harm. So here's the scene. Word comes in that a friend has been in a terrible motorcycle accident. The information is a complete mess. You've got conflicting reports, rumors are flying everywhere. The natural human impulse is to do something, to call their family, to let everyone know. But what if you're wrong? For 4 straight hours, this uncertainty just hung in the air. Can you imagine that? 4 hours of tension, of this immense pressure to just act? The weight of that pressure to do something, even with incomplete information, is just massive. But here's what happened. By deliberately taking several kinetic pauses throughout those 4 hours, the team was able to separate what they knew for a fact from what they were just assuming. They fought that urge to make that irreversible phone call to the family until they had 100% confirmation. They stopped a tragedy from becoming even worse with the trauma of misinformation. And it's all because they chose an intentional response over a panicked reaction. So let's zoom out for a minute. This simple tactic, it's not just some life hack for your inbox. It's actually a foundational practice for a bigger philosophy of how to lead and live with purpose.
something we call the Waymaker code.
You see, the kinetic pause is this code in action. You uphold truth because you're verifying intent instead of just assuming it. You live intentionally because you are consciously choosing how you respond. And you forge courage. Because let's be honest, it takes real courage to pick up the phone and ask for clarity instead of just letting a negative assumption sit there and fester. And that's the real shift here. When you master the pause, you stop being someone who just gets tossed around by the chaos of miscommunication. You become a waymaker, someone who can step into a confusing situation and through deliberate, intentional action, create clarity, build trust, and foster real understanding.
So I'll leave you with this challenge. The very next time you get a text, an email, a Slack message that gives you that little jolt, before you type a single character back, just take that breath. Question the story you're telling yourself, and make the choice to verify. What misunderstanding can you prevent? What relationship can you make stronger? What needless conflict will you eliminate, starting right now?